stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good morning, everybody. Fellow trudgers. And the like. It's Monday. So Monday. Just giving it a little bit. Do you know who this is? Yeah, I'm not gonna. Who is it? Who is it? I will get one of two answers. Okay, but successfully tell me who is on my shirt. All right. Y'all got it wrong. There's nobody here. But for the rewatchers, you can put that up. You put that up. Welcome on Daily Trudge. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. You know what? I think at the end today, I'm going to share the full-length song. Hey, Tommy. Good to see you, brother. Good afternoon. I'm presuming that is Patricia. We're going to get started at the 3-minute mark. So about 27, 26, 25 seconds. Which just keeps going. Isn't that weird how time just keeps moving? Right? It is my belief that if you cannot talk about anything in the now. It's impossible. Because all you really have is right now. That means any conversation outside of the now doesn't matter, right? Because we're in the now. Sorry, I can't stop the clock. All right. We're at that 3-minute mark. I did put a challenge up at the beginning of this. Name who is on my shirt. I will give you that much. There you go. Do something fun to do. I'll get 2 different types of answers. All right. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. And I'm going to let you know I'm dealing with high anxiety and depression today. If you're here, please say hello. Whether you're watching the live or the rewatch, I love you, Tommy. Most people that are younger think that is Harry Potter. So I'm proud of you, Tommy. You are more than welcome to the group. Yeah, I like you East Coasters, man. I do. I love you East Coasters. Right. Yeah, my nightmares last night, I woke up thinking I was in jail, and I was shaking. And what is it with that box today, kitty? So as a new month, we are moving on to the next month. It is now May, which means you're going to be hearing this January, February, March, April, May. We're going to be hearing a lot of 5th step stuff now. This reading, I think, is actually... Hey, dude, I'm doing something here. Thanks. You're a pal. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. That's right. Get out. All right. Curious kitties. Curious kitties. So we're going to start in 12 by 12 and or around page 55. Step 5. Surprise, surprise. I want to tell you. Most of the month, I will not talk step 5 all month, just so you know. I vary my stuff up. But this is a good reading. And I really didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it because I'm like, oh, that means that I'm going to have to be positive. It means I'm going to have to be in a better mood because of the way that I was earlier. There's no way I could have done it. But thank God for time and therapy, right? Yeah, I've got a really good therapist. So let's get started. We're just going to go. I'm going to go ahead and start at the top of the page and read on through. Let me see what they're trying to enforce here. Well, it's just step 5. Admitted God to ourselves and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. That was it. All right. All of AA's 12 steps ask us to go contrary to our natural desires. They all deflate our egos. When it comes to ego deflation, few steps are harder to take than 5. But scarcely any step is more necessary to long-term sobriety and peace of mind than this one. I don't know when you go through the 12 by 12 if you notice these little indicators that tell you what the importance is of the step. I'm going to tell you something. Whatever step you're on is important. It is. They're all important. But some are more necessary. What are we whining about? What? Because you want to here. There. You two stop it. Okay, so when it comes to ego deflation, this step is going to be one of the hardest ones. But we need this. When you are free of the ego, healing can start. And that's what they're saying here. Okay? Even with what I was just dealing with in therapy, it has to do with ego. It has to do with self-esteem, perception of things. There's a lot of different working parts there. Even at one part I was talking to her, I'm like, I'm confused. What part of the process is next? And I've been doing this. I've been going to therapy longer than she's been alive. But doesn't that tell you we always need other people? Okay? I do not try and go through any of this alone. Okay? Even if I'm depressed or down, I try not to do things alone. I try to do them with other alcoholics or other people. Experience has taught me we cannot live alone with our pressing problems and the character defects which cause or aggravate them. I promise I don't read ahead. I've just been reading this stuff so long that I have an intuitiveness to it, I guess. We can't live alone with our pressing problems. They get to be too much for us. Okay. I need to talk to other people so that I can make my problems right-sized. Okay. It's hard for me to make my problems right-sized. But then when I talk to another person, I'm like, oh, you know what? This part and this part just aren't that big of a deal. They just aren't. So why am I holding on to something that I don't need to be? If we have swept the searchlight of step 4 back and forth over our careers, and it has revealed in stark relief those experiences we rather not remember, if we have come to know how wrong thinking and action have hurt us and others, then the need to quit living by ourselves with those tormenting ghosts of yesterday gets more urgent than ever. We have to talk to someone about them. The more pressing problems. Okay? And that's what I worked on with today. See? I've gone through the steps, right? So I'm in the maintenance steps. Well, this is a step 10 for me, even though it's step 5. Okay? In other words, this is something that's going on immediately. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to review it. Where have I been selfish? Where have I been dishonest? What part did I play in this? Do I owe an amends? And if I do owe an amends, it is to be made immediately. I do not wait on this stuff anymore. It is a program of action, and it is action all the time. So intense, though, is our fear and reluctance to do this that many AAs at first try to bypass step 5. We search for an easier way, which usually consists of the general and fairless, painless admission that when drinking we were sometimes bad actors. Then, for good measure, we add dramatic descriptions of that part of our drinking behavior, which our friends probably know about anyhow. I'm going to let you know something about the 5th step. You probably have not done anything worse than other people in the program. You haven't. Okay? You think you have? Go listen to some of my podcasts. Go listen to some of them. You'll find them in there. And you'll be like, holy shit, man. It blows me away. I've been doing this for a while, and there's some stories I'm still like, wow. Wow. But the things which really bother and burn us, we say nothing. Certain distressing or humiliating memories we tell ourselves ought not be shared with anyone. These will remain our secret. Not a soul must ever know. We hope they will go to the grave with us. It's these ones right there that will kill you. They will actually hold back. They will hold back your emotional and spiritual sobriety. It will hold you back. In the beginning, you may not feel it, but as you start to go through that 9th step, and then you get into sponsoring others, and then you go to do their 5th step and realize that you didn't complete yours. How are you going to ask your sponsee to do something you haven't done? You cannot transmit something you haven't got. You can't do that. You just can't. I don't care who you are. Well, I understand we're great, but if you have not put them to practical use, that's just knowledge. Knowledge is great. Knowledge is power, but knowledge is nothing unless you act on it or act with it. Otherwise, it's just a statement. Yet, if AA's experience means anything at all, this is not only unwise, but it is actually a perilous resolve. Few muddled attitudes have caused us more trouble than holding back on step 5. Some people are unable to stay sober at all. Others will relapse periodically until they really clean house. Even AA old-timers sober for years often pay dearly for skipping this step. They will tell how they tried to carry the last load alone, how much they suffered of irritability, anxiety, remorse, and depression, and how unconsciously seeking relief, they would sometimes accuse even their best friends of the character defects they themselves were trying to conceal. They always discovered that relief never came by confessing the sins of other people. Everybody had to confess his own. So I'm going to give you a little secret. And if you are willing to be open-minded about everything, that this will work beautifully for you. Okay? Because number one, we're an alcoholic. I take people's program. I did. You do. Yeah, you do too. So don't say you don't. I do. I don't do it intentionally. They're intrusive thoughts. I don't do anything with them. Right? Sorry. So if somebody is doing something that is irritating you, or they have a character defect you cannot stand, this is what I want you to think of. Am I doing that? Especially in the beginning of the program, you will find a lot of your character defects doing it that way. I have found that when other people were irritating me, especially in the beginning of the program, it is because they were showing a clear-cut example of how I act. And if you can be open-minded to hear those things, I'll tell you what, my friend, you got a great chance. You do. That's really hard to do in the beginning. It's hard to do it all. I still do it. I still do it. Because sometimes one of my character defects crops up and I don't know about it. Then I see somebody else doing it and I go, ooh, Dion, you've been busted. See? It works really, really well. All right, one more paragraph and then I'm going to wrap this up. This practice of admitting one's defects to another person is, of course, very ancient. It has been validated in every century, and it characterizes the lives of all spiritually centered and truly religious people. But today, religion is by no means the sole advocate of this saving principle. Psychiatrists and psychologists point out the deep need every human being has for practical insight and knowledge of his own personality flaws and for the discussion for them with an understanding and trustworthy person. There's the key. It is the chain breaker step. Thanks. I like that. Thank you. So far as alcoholics are concerned, AA would go even further. Most of us would declare that without a fearless admission of our defects to another human being, we could not stay sober. It seems plain that the grace of God will not enter to expel our destructive obsessions until we are willing to try this. There's that willingness again, that indispensable willingness that you use for everything. It is. Willingness is our number one thing. It is for me. Everything starts out with willingness. I was willing to get up this morning. I was willing to go to therapy. I was willing to do this. See, I have to be willing. My PTSD and my anxiety won't have it any other way. We could be having I'll give you a great example. I went to go tell my story. I love being the center of attention. I'm just telling you, I'm not scared to admit it. I love being the center of attention. Okay? I got the center of attention, and my anxiety is like, no, you are not going to have this, right? And I still pulled it off. I was able to go, got done, and it turned out really well. All right, let's get to the reading. May 1st. Since it is true that God comes to me through people, I can see that by keeping people at a distance, I also keep God at a distance. God is nearer to me than I think, and I can experience him by loving people and allowing people to love me. But I can get neither love or be loved if I allow my secrets to get in the way. Okay? How do secrets get in the way? Because in your brain, people are saying, I love you, but in your brain, it's going to go, oh, you're not worthy of that love. You remember that one thing that you did? You remember that one thing that you did? No, you don't deserve love. That's how our brains work. Okay? And it's not right. Yes, you do deserve love. Whether you held on to that secret or not. I'm going to tell you still deserve it. Okay? But for me, I had to tell these things to somebody that I knew it wouldn't go anywhere. Because I'm going to tell you something. I don't trust people. I have a hard time trusting people. Okay? And I have my reasons. I'm getting better at it. But that one's going to take me a long time. But then what happens is the relationships that I have are very unique. So it's the side of myself that I refuse to look at rules me. I must be willing to look at the dark side in order to heal my mind and my heart, because that is the road to freedom. I must walk into the darkness to find the light and walk into fear to find peace. This is so true. And I'm going to tell you something. It was effing scary. I've never been so scared at what was going to happen to me in my life. Well, no, that's not true. It was one other time. Okay. But it was a weird fear. Okay? Why was I able to walk through those dark crannies alone? Because I wasn't alone. God had my hand. Okay? All I had to do was put my blinders on and walk towards the light. And before I knew it, I was through. I was through it. But you have to be willing to admit those things that we have kept secret. Right? If you have ones that are just you do not want to tell anybody, then find somebody that is bound by HIPAA. Okay? Unless, wow, this is getting really, I can't say it. I might as well just say it. If you go to somebody with HIPAA and say that you killed somebody, they're going to report you. So if you did something highly legal, I recommend that you talk to your sponsor and God about it, and maybe a pastor, and work through that stuff. I've never actually met anybody that had to work through that, so I don't know, and I don't know. It obviously happens. There are people that are killed in DUI crashes all the time, right? Hey Ingrid, it's good to see you, honey. By revealing my secrets and thereby ridding myself of guilt, I can actually change my thinking by altering my thinking. I can change myself. My thoughts create my future. What I will be tomorrow is determined by what I think today. I'm going to move this around a little bit. I hear what they're saying, okay? But I don't like, I can actually change my thinking by, I can change myself. I would like it if it said, I can change myself with the help of others. Okay. Now, is it us that actually do the work for it? Yes, we do. So we get to claim our own spiritual progress. Let's do that real quick. Good job. All right. We're done claiming spiritual progress. It says that on page 60 that we claim spiritual progress. And a lot of us don't. I forget to do it all the time. All right. What I will be tomorrow is determined by what I think today. I'm going to change that. What I will be tomorrow is determined by what I do today. What actions? Okay, thinking does nothing. Thinking provide. I can sit here and think. Right? Okay, done thinking. Nothing's resolved. Maybe inside my head. Maybe it's resolved inside my head. But what about my spirituality? See, you can't ask your head if it's okay. Did we get this done, Ed? Oh, yeah. It's going to fucking lie to you. And it's going to tell you yes. Because it doesn't want to go through it. What you do is you got to ask your tummy, ask your heart. It'll tell you whether you need to do it or not. Okay. I don't care how sane we become. I don't care that we can use our brains again, but that doesn't mean it's what I start using in order to make a decision. The only thing that I really run through my head anymore are facts. Those are what goes in the brain. Okay. My emotional decisions are made by my tummy. My spiritual decisions are made by my heart. I've been using this system for a long time, and it works very well for me. That way, when I'm having a hard day, I can think to myself, here we are thinking, okay, but we're not asking the brain, we're asking the tummy. Do I need to help somebody today? Ding, ding, ding. Yep, that's it. It's going to know. It's going to know. Or go talk to somebody. Because a lot of times, when you start running your mouth, the answer just comes out. That's what therapy is all about. Therapy, they do guide you, but you solve your own problems with a guide. When you go through facts, you stopped to judge. Yeah, and I see what you're saying on that is that there's when we stick to facts that there's not we stop judging in that. And that's a really good point. It also takes away blame because since the problem is solved, there's nobody left to blame. Okay? Just remember that if you're ever blaming somebody else, you have three fingers pointing right back at you. That person over there, you had three fingers. This is not an acceptable way to do things. Blame. Now, we live in a solution world. Okay? So when we say that we are as sick as our secrets, we are as sick as our secrets. So when we decide to let these secrets go, do the right thing by admitting them to another human being and to God, you can actually turn that into gold. It is that information about you. It is your character defects. It is all the shitty things that you have done that will allow you to approach another human being and save their life. It's what happened. You were given a hard life for a reason. Because God has a plan with you. He has a plan, not with you, for you. Not with, of course, with you. God doesn't make you do this on your own. He just doesn't. All right. Get off here and try to get some things done. I'm still got a lot of anxiety, depression stuff. So, all right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I love you. Peace out. And